Now we will start our presentation today from Group 4. And our group member, myself, is Wang Tianxing.
I am Fusin Mei.
I am Wu Yiqi.
I am Sun Mei Huang.
Okay, we will start with Chapter 9, which is Foundations of Individual Behavior. First, I will explain about the focus and goals of organizational behavior. The focus of organizational behavior are such as individual behavior, group behavior, and organizational aspects. Then there are goals of organizational behavior, which is to explain, predict, and influence employee behavior. There are 6 kinds of employee behavior, such as the first one is employee productivity, the second one is absenteeism, and then turnover, and then organizational citizenship behavior. Next one is job satisfaction, and the last one is workplace misbehavior. And then there's role that attitudes play in job performance. As we can see, attitudes play an important role in job performance, and there are some components that attitude refers to, such as the cognitive component, the affective component, and behavioral component. There are also 4 job-related attitudes, which include job satisfaction, which describes a positive feeling about a job that resulting from an evaluation of its characteristics. And then the second one is job involvement, which measures the degree to which people identify psychologically with their job and consider their perceived performance level important to self-worth. And then the third one is organizational commitment, which an employee identifies with a particular organization and its goals and wishes to maintain membership in the organization. And then the last one is employee engagement, which the employees are satisfied and enthusiastic about their jobs. Then there is different personality theories, which is the MBTI measures 4 dimensions, which is social interaction, preference for collecting data, preference for decision making, and decision making style. There's a big 5 model consists of 5 personality traits, which is extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and then emotional stability and openness to experience. Another way of looking at personality is through 5 personality traits that help explain individual behavior in organizations, which is locus of control, Machiavellianism, self-esteem, self-monitoring, and risk-taking. MBTI assessment really helped the manager, as it is also been found to be useful in focusing on growth orientations for entrepreneurial types, as well as profiles supporting emotional intelligence. And then there's perception and the factors that influence it. Perception itself is how we give meaning to our environment by organizing sensory impressions. And there are 3 factors about attribution theory that explain how we judge people differently. The first one is distinctiveness, is whether an individual displays different behaviors in different situations. And then the second one is consensus, is whether others facing a similar situation and respond in the same way. And then the last one is consistency, is when a person engages in behaviors regularly and consistently. The fundamental attribution error is the tendency to underestimate and overestimate the influence of external and internal factors. The self-serving bias is the tendency to attribute our own successes to internal factors and to put the blame for personal failure on external factors. Shortcuts used in judging others are selective perception, assume similarity, stereotyping, and the halo effect. Now, next one is learning theories and their relevance in shaping behavior. So social learning theory says that individuals learn by observing what happens to other people and by directly experiencing something. Managers can shape behavior by using positive reinforcement, which is reinforcing a desired behavior by giving something pleasant, negative reinforcement, which is by reinforcing a desired response by withdrawing something unpleasant, punishment, which is eliminating undesirable behavior by applying penalties or extinction. And there's some contemporary issues in OB, which is the main challenges are over issues such as appearance, technology, and management style. Workplace misbehavior can be dealt with by recognizing that and carefully screening potential employees for possible negative tendencies, and by paying attention to employee attitudes through surveys about job satisfaction and dissatisfaction.
Chapter 10 Understanding Groups and Managing Work Teams. Define group and describe the stage of group development. A group is two or more interacting and interdependent individuals who come together to achieve certain goals. A formal group is a work group that is determined by the organizational structure and has set work assignments and certain tasks that are directed at achieving organizational goals. Informal groups are social groups. The storming stage is one of intra-group conflict over who will control the group and what the group will do. The norming stage is when close relationships and cohesiveness develop when norms are established. The performing stage is when group members work on group assignments. The delay stage occurs when the group prepares to disband. Describe the major concept of group behavior. Describe the major concept of group behavior. Role refers to a set of behavioral patterns expected of someone who occupies a certain position in a social unit. At any given time, employees adapt their role behavior to the group to which they belong. Norms are standards that are shared by group members. Status is another factor that needs to be known because it can be a significant motivator and must be aligned. So, group size affects group behavior in several ways. Group cohesiveness is important because of its impact on the group's effectiveness in achieving its goals. Discuss learning theories and their relevance in shaping behavior. Effective teams share the same characteristic. They have adequate resources, effective leadership, a climate of trust, and a performance evaluation and reward system that reflects the team's contribution. Effective teams also tend to be small, preferably from diverse backgrounds. They have members who fulfill the demands of the role and who prefer to be part of a team, and the work that members do provides freedom and autonomy. The opportunity to use different skills and talents, the ability to complete an identifiable, unified task or product, and impactful work. Big on others, an effective team will have members who believe in the team's abilities and are committed to a common plan and goals. Discuss contemporary issues in managing teams. Managing a global team has challenges and can be seen in the team composition factors, especially the characteristic of diverse cultures, such as in the team structure, especially conformity, status, social loving, and cohesiveness, and in team processes, particularly with communication and conflict management, and the manager's role in making it all work. Managers also need to know when a job can be done by assessing whether the job can be done better by more than one person, by whether the work creates a common goal or set of goals for team members, and by the amount of interdependence among team members.
Chapter 11 Foundation and of individual behavior. What is motivation? Motivation does not just revert to the factor that active behavior. It also involves the factor that direct and maintain the goal direct action. Success motivation are rarely direct observable. As a result, we often have to infer the reason why people do the thing based on observable behavior. Motivation refers to the process by which a person are energized, directed, and sustained toward attaining a goal. This division has three key elements: energy, direction, and persistence. Compare and contrast early theories of motivation. Theories of need theory. Maslow theory, which claims that there is a hierarchy of five human needs: physiological, safety, social esteem, and self-actualization. Physiological needs for need food, drink, shelter, sex, and other physical requirements. Safety needs security and protection from physical and emotional harms, as well as assurance that physical needs will continue to be met. Social need, affection, belongingness, acceptance, and friendship. Esteem needs internal system factors such as self-respect, autonomy, and assessment, and external esteem factors such as status, recognition, and attention. Self-actualization needs grow is saving one potential and self-fulfillment. The drive to become what one is capable of becoming. Compare and contrast contemporary theories of motivation. Early motivation theories were based on the assumption of sometimes these theories were not supported by strong evidence. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a good example of this approach. 3-4 alternative theories of motivation have been put forward over time. Self-determination theory of motivation and argues that people often seek control of their action. Setting theory is based on the view that challenging objectives should aid and improve workplace performance. In this theory, it is assumed that as employees commit to the firm goals and desire to make a positive contribution, it is important that the set goals are also perceived as achievable. Discuss certain issue in motivating employees. Management research has made great progress in understanding as well as predicting the motivation of employees. How to motivate during tough circumstances of the economy. The recent recessions of economy was very difficult for quite a lot of companies and organizations. Budget become very tight and layoffs were become highly common. This was a very challenging situation for several managers. How can manager motivation employees when the economy stinks? The, co- the company also took good care of this being laid off. Employees with less than 2 years of service were paid through the end of the year. Design appropriate rewards programs. A. Open book management. B. Recognition program for employees. C. Pay for performance.
Chapter 12 Leadership and Trust. Define leader and leadership. A leader is someone who can influence other and person that has managerial authority. Leadership is process of leading a group and influencing that group to achieve its goals. Managers should be leader because leading is one of the four management functions. compare and contrast the early leadership theories. Early attempts to define leader traits were unsuccessful, although later attempts found 7 traits associated with leadership. A leader high in both those dimensions at times achieved high group task performance and high group member satisfaction, but not always. Describe the 4 major contingency leadership theories. Fielder's model attempts to define the best style to use in particular situation. Leader style relationship-oriented or task-oriented using the last preferred CO worker questionnaire. He measured 3 contingency dimensions: leader-member relation, task structure, and position power. The model suggests that task-oriented leaders perform best in very favorable and very unfavorable situations, and the relationship-oriented leaders perform best in moderately favorable situations. Hersey and Blanchard's situational leadership theory focused on followers' readiness. They, they identified 4 leadership styles: telling, high task, low relationship; selling, high task, high relationship; participating, low task, high relationship; and delegating, low task, low relationship. They also identified 4 state or readiness: unable and unwilling, use telling style; unable but willing, use selling style; able but unwilling, use participate style; and able and willing, use delegating style. The leader participation model relates leadership behavior and participation to decision making. The PET goal made developed by Robert House identified 4 leadership behavior: directive, supportive, participate, and achievement-oriented. Essentially, the PAT goal model says that a leader should provide direction and support as needed, that is, structure the path so the follower can achieve goals. Describe modern views of leadership and the issues facing today's leaders. Leaders Member Exchange (LMX) theory says the leader create in-group and out-group, and those in-group will have higher performer rating, less turnover, and greater job satisfaction. A transactional leader exchange reward for productivity, where a transformational leader stimulates and inspires followers to achieve goals. A charismatic leader is an enthusiastic and self-confident leader whose personality and action influence people behave in certain ways. People can learn to be charismatic. A team leader has 2 priorities: manage the team's external boundary and facilitate the team process. 4 leader roles are involved liaison with external constituencies, troubleshooter, conflict manager, and coach. The issues facing leaders today include employee empowerment, national culture, and emotional intelligence. As employees are empowered, the leader's role tends to be one of not leading. Discuss trust as the essence of leadership. The 5 dimensions of trust include integrity, competence, consistency, loyalty, and truthfulness. Integrity refers to one's honesty and truthfulness. Competence involves an individual technical and interpersonal knowledge and skills. Consistency relates to an individual's reliability, predictability, and good judgment in handling situation. Loyalty is an individual willingness to protect and save face for another person.
Okay, now chapter 13, Managing Communication and Information. What managers need to know about communicating effectively. To lead others, you must demonstrate effective communication skills. Otherwise, a manager will lack the credibility to implement his employer's objectives and struggle to rally worker teams behind them. Employees who show an aptitude for verbal and written communication are more likely to advance up the corporate ladder as well. Effective communication between managers and employees is requisite for a well-functioning workplace. Next one, how does the communication process work? Communication can be thought of as a process or flow. Communication problems occur when deviations or blockages disrupt that flow. The message is encoded or converted to symbolic form and is passed by way of some medium or channel to the receiver, who retranslates or decodes the message initiated by the sender depicts the communication process. This model has 7 parts, which is the first one is the communication source or sender. Then the second one is encoding, then the message, the channel, decoding, the receiver, and the last one is feedback. One is how technology affects managerial communication. How has technology affected communication? Technology communication affects us continuously as we make technological advances. New trends in communications emerge and often become the norm. Three developments in information technology appear to have had a significant effect on current managerial communication, such as network, computer systems, wireless capabilities, and knowledge management systems. A communication network refers to the method that employees pass on information to other employees in an organization. Let's take a look at 4 different types, which is the wheel network, chain network, circle network, and all-channel network. Next one is contemporary issues in communication. Managing communication in an internet network, there is legal and security issues. Although email, blogs, tweets, and other forms of online communication are quick and easy ways to communicate, managers need to be aware of potential legal problems from inappropriate usage. And the second one is personal interaction. However, it can be especially challenging to achieve understanding and collaborate on getting work done when communication takes place in a virtual environment, as we saw earlier. Others have simply encouraged employees to collaborate more in person, yet sometimes and in some situations.
Chapter 14, Foundation of Control. Explain the nature and importance of control. Control is an action which involves monitoring activities to ensure that something are being accomplished as planned and correcting any significant deviation of mistakes. As the final step in the management process, controlling provides the link back to planning. If manager didn't control, they did have no way of knowing whether goals were being met. Control is important because it is the only way to know whether goals are being met, and it provides information and feedback so managers feel comfortable empowering employees. Also, it helps protect an organization and its assets. 3 steps in the control process. There are 3 steps in control process, which is measuring, deciding how to measure actually performance, comparing, looking at the variation between actual performance and the standard. Taking action can involve doing nothing, correcting the actual performance, or revising the standards. Types of control organization and manager use. These are the type of control that organization and manager use, which is Feed-forward control take place before a work activity is done. Concurrent control take place while a work activity is being done. Feedback controls take place after a work activity is done. Financial control that managers can use include financial ration or liquidity, leverage, activity, and profitability, and budget. MIS is one information control manager can use, which provide manager with needed information on a regular basis. Other include comprehensive and secure control, such as data encryption, system firewalls, data backups that protect the organization information. Contemporary issues in control. Workplace concern include workplace privacy, employees' theft, and workplace violence. For each of these, managers need to have policies in place to control inappropriate action and ensure the work is getting done efficiently and effectively without any issues that can be happen. Okay, that's all our presentation. Thank you for listening and bye-bye.